when I lived in Florida, I worked at a heating and cooling company. I will leave the name out. And while I was working for that company, I passed out many tracts and books. And I remember in one book, the guy had read one of the pages and it spoke about the Ten Commandments. He said, "Why are you giving me this? We are not under the law. We do not have to keep the commandments." I said, "Well, who told you that?" He said, "It's a given. When Jesus died, he nailed all of those things to the cross." I said, "Can you show me where he nailed the Ten Commandments to the cross? Those large, heavy tablets that were written with the finger of God, and our God being a consuming fire, it was etched through on both sides. Um, you sure he nailed that to the cross?" He was like, "Yeah, I'm sure he nailed that to the cross." I said, "So what does that mean?" He said, "It means we're not under the law and we don't have to keep the law." So I started going down through the Ten Commandments with him. I said, "So now we don't have to worship God and God only, right? Because we don't keep the commandments of God. So you don't have to worship God anymore then, right?" He said, "Well, no. I mean, we still have to worship God." I said, "Well, doesn't the first commandment, say that, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord, and so on and so on." And I said, "But if we don't have to keep the law, then you can worship whatever you want or whomever you want, correct?" And he said, "No." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "So you're now allowed to set up statues and idols and bow down to them and worship idols now?" He said, "Of course not." I said, "Okay, now you can take the name of the Lord in vain?" He said, "Of course not." I said, "So you can desecrate and not keep holy the Sabbath day?" He said, "Of course not." I said, "So you don't have to honor your father and your mother?" He said, "Of course we have to honor our father and our mother." I said, "And so you allowed to kill now?" "No, we ain't allowed to kill." I said, "So you allowed to steal now?" "No, we're not allowed to steal." I said, "Are you allowed to covet your neighbor's goods and take his wife and commit adultery with her?" "No, we're not allowed to do that." I said, "But if you're under grace, you can do all of those things, correct? If there's no law." He said, "You know what? I never even thought about it like that." I said, "Have you ever even looked into the matter to see what Christ and what Paul was actually really saying about which laws were actually nailed to the cross?" He said, "No, not really. I was just, basically following what the pastor said." I said, "Well, there was a set of laws that God had Moses write, which Moses wrote in a book that didn't actually go in the inside compartment of the ark of the covenant, but actually went on the outside compartment and was slid into a pocket that's on the outside compartment of the ark." I said, "Those contain the ceremonial laws and the feast days and all those different new moons and Sabbaths and the different rest days that they celebrated for all of those things." I said those ceremonial laws were what were nailed to the cross because they were a type of Christ. They were to bring us and lead us to Christ. But when Christ came, he was the antitype. No need for the ceremonial laws anymore. And he just looked at me like, "I never knew that." And I said, "That's the whole purpose of studying the Bible for yourself." Glad to say, he took another look at the Ten Commandments and realizes that they are still binding.